Hello, Bumpy McSquigums here, and it's time for me to do something a little out of the ordinary, a little different, a little off the beaten path, we'll say. And there's a game that I had sent to me by the developers. It's a game I had been kind of excited about probably about a year ago, to be honest. And it has gone through quite a bit of changing in that time. It's still in alpha stage, and it's in early access on Steam. If you guys are interested, you can pick it up there. I'll have all the information down below in the description. And the game is Folktale by Gamesfoundry. Now, what's unique about this game was, or is, the fact that they had an idea, they had a path that they went down, they had a direction they wanted to go with the game, and they started down that path, they went down that, that direction, and people started getting behind the game, and they had fans and stuff, and, more and more and more, and then all of a sudden, they kind of polled the fans and see how they liked the direction they were going, and the fans wanted quite a few different things. And oddly enough, and crazily enough, and good enough for everybody, or good for everyone, I guess it's not good enough, but good for everybody, the fact that the developers said, you know what, we hear you, and we're going to change and do what you guys want, to a degree. I mean, they're still doing their own thing, but they decided to change the direction of the game, and they went away from the kind of the set storyline with like set positions for you to build your town and everything else, and they made it more open world sandboxy. So that's really, really cool, but they pretty much had to redesign the game from the ground up. Now, I'm not going to go into a ridiculously large amount of detail about all this stuff. Maybe as time progresses, I'll explain it a little bit more. But I wanted to give you guys an idea of exactly what we're going into here. So I'm going to go through the tutorial, which is basically how the game was originally supposed to work. And I'll probably finish that up this week, and then next week I'll go into the open sandbox mode and play around a little bit so you guys can see the changes and the differences. Then when the game finally releases in its full-tality, in its complete form, I will do a full LP of the game. So, let's get started. Okay, so the tutorial's loading up, and it's going to change kind of a new menu for the game. And here we are. So this is how the game originally looked. This is the whole original plan, and the first few levels, I guess, maybe the first mission, I'm not sure how far in it goes. I didn't finish the campaign that they gave us, the tutorial as it were. Simply because, well, I wanted something exciting to happen, something new and interesting, so I don't have exact knowledge.
For months, your people have struggled through swamps and forests, across deserts and frozen wastes, battling storms and high seas that threatened to dash them against the rocks. They came to escape from the tyranny of the evil Lord Blackdark, whose rogue financiers had crushed the population to little more than indentured slaves. Fleeing a land where toast is rationed to only the select few and the good people eat only stale bread, your brave subjects have fought and suffered before arriving on the shores of this remote island. It is here they hope to find peace and tranquility, where they can farm and build a new... Oh look, there's Bernard. Hello. Where was I? Oh yes, to a land where your people can build a new society where freedom and toast are available to everyone. And it is up to you, our steely-eyed leader, to build a brighter future for your brave pioneers. Because let's face it, the villagers aren't the sharpest swords in the rack.
Freedom and toast for everyone!
This is the world of Folktale.
There you have it, guys. So I'm going to try not to talk during the dialogue. A lot of people don't like when that happens, so I'm going to try to
Welcome to our new village. Let's practice moving around. Moving the mouse to the edge of the screen will move you in that direction. Alternatively, you can use the W, A, S, and D keys, or the arrow keys on your keyboard. You can point the camera by holding down the right mouse button and dragging the mouse left or right, up and down. Finally, you can adjust the camera height by scrolling the mouse. We shall set to work building a windmill and planting wheat fields that can be harvested and milled into flour.
Yes.
Click on the notice board near the empty plot of land and select the windmill from the construction options.
Okay, so this is basically how the game used to play out. So you have these different plots of land, and as he made mention, you would click on it, and you would build whatever popped up that you wanted to build. So all throughout the village and the town and everything else, you have these different little plots of land that you can actually build on. There are resources to gather and all sorts of crazy, wonderful stuff. And there's a few things I really, really like about the game, the way it was, and there's several things I like about it the way it is now. But considering, excuse me, my tongue decided to rebel against me, didn't want to make the continued sound. Anyway, considering, see, I tried to do it again, considering that we're in the tutorial right now, we're going to continue down this path and just kind of talk about what's going on in this particular game. So, when we get back to the free sandbox mode, the open world, we'll go into that. Now, one of the things I really liked that they did here, and they may have done it in the sandbox, I'm not sure, but the fact that you can see all of the terrain, it's just grayed out, it's whitewashed, it's black and white or gray or whatever you want to call it. And that's kind of their fog of war mechanic, as opposed to having absolutely no vision as to what's coming, you know, the full black fog of war. So I like this a lot better, actually. It lets you kind of know what's around you, and you can build up defenses accordingly, and all that wonderful fun stuff. So, we're going to hop back over here to the town. Now, they had to basically redesign the game from the ground up, because what they originally programmed...
Our villagers will set to work hammering and sawing. In the meantime, why not place one or more wheat fields next to the windmill? The closer resources are to buildings, the less time villagers will spend transporting goods, and the more productive they can be.
The stuff they originally programmed didn't want to work with the new way the game works now, so they had to kind of change a lot of stuff. Like the windmill, how it kind of procedurally got generated and grew and became amazing. All the buildings in the future come out of the ground. So again, I'm going to focus primarily on what's going on in the tutorial. So this is the original direction and the original plan for the game. So they want me to build a wheat field. I shall do so. And there it is. And the peasants should automatically, maybe if I deselect them. Nope. I'm just going to send some other random peasants over to do it. I guess because I had those selected, they didn't want to do any work. They're like, no, I'm not going to do that. And well, we can't force them.
Options are available.
Alright.
Our windmill is ready. Train a farmer by selecting a free villager and right-clicking on the windmill.
He said right-click, he meant left-click. It said it in the chat box up top, but they've changed it because they were trying to adapt the old programming with the new stuff.
Great! You've just trained your first specialist.
It didn't work.
The farmer will tend to the fields, planting seeds and harvesting wheat, before delivering it to the windmill to be milled into flour.
So there's our farmer.
Your villagers will then be able to buy flour from the storehouse to make bread, generating more income for us. We should build a woodcutter's lodge close to the woods and train one of our folk to be a woodcutter.
Alright, Woodcutter's Lodge is next up on the docket, and for an early access game, a game that's still in early alpha, they're probably planning for, if I recall, early 2015 is their expected release date. So they have a lot of work that they're still doing. They do regular blog updates and dev blogs and stuff like that. So they're definitely working toward getting the game done. And they're constantly adding new things and changing stuff and making the game more and more polished. So you'll see that a lot of the stuff in the tutorial is going to be completely different from what you'll see in the actual game. But for now, we will enjoy it, and hopefully our peasants will come here and do their job. And I like how all of the peasants have specific names right now. So we have Thomas the Reluctant.
Yes, my dear.
And we have Gertrude the Foulwind. That couldn't be a good name. Bess Muck Peddler. And then they tell male peasant, female peasant, stuff of that nature. I believe they all are supposed to have a backstory, though I don't know how to necessarily see that, unfortunately. Now the female peasants cannot do any of the jobs like woodcutting and farming and stuff like that. However, if you do get a dairy farm, the female peasants can become milkmaids. So there is that. There is that.
New building options are
so
available.
that is done, and on to the next thing.
I'll select one of our folks and send them to the woodcutter's lodge for training.
Alright, and there we have it. We now have a woodcutter. He's decked out in flannel shirt and suspenders and an axe.
Yes, my dear.
So now we're not sure what to do. It says capture the logging camp, and you'll see up here in the mini map in the top right, that means to come over here and do random things. We can do random things. That's something that we are very, very good at, doing random things. So I'm going to hop over here and do this random thing right now, capturing the wood lodge.
I can't believe I'm the one that has to squish the
Resource
Yeah, you are.
What's up,
The
Slick?
cutter will chop down trees and saw logs into planks
Oops.
that can be
Sorry,
used
guys.
to construct other buildings. We'll also need more iron bars and stone. Build an iron smelt near the iron mine and train a miner.
Alright, iron smelt and train a miner. And that is right up here. Here's the iron smelt, or the iron mine, I suppose. And then once that is actually built, we can then train ourselves a miner. And it will be
On my way.
sweet, sweet nice. It will be glorious and wonderful.
Harvest time.
And our people will be really, really, really excited and hopefully
What
super
now?
happy because they're doing what they're told.
Ta-ta.
And everybody knows that when you're doing what you're told, you're a happy person, right? No? No? Is that why bosses are so unloved throughout the world? Anyhow, we'll continue to build up the town as the tutorial progresses, and again, you'll kind of get a good feel of how the game was and the direction that they took. And then I'm pretty excited to show you guys some of the stuff in the sandbox mode and see how far the game has come and what it's going to look like down the road. So, definitely something I'm excited
building
about.
options are available.
Alright, well, we're going to build ourselves a smelter right now, or a
Really?
whatever in the world he's going to become.
Excellent. Before our miner can get to work,
Oh.
we need to clear out the rat infestation.
We
near
have
the
rat
mine and
infestations.
hoist our faction flag to state our
There's
claim.
kobolds. There we are.
What's that?
We have saved the world. Alright, so if there's any stuff on the ground,
Now build a stonecutter's lodge near the stone quarry and train one of our villagers to be a stone cutter. Huh?
so if there's any stuff laying on the ground, guys, you can always just double
My
click it
pleasure.
and it will work wonderfully. Alright, so we're going to go with the Stonecutter's Lodge, which is over here, and we're going to have our peasants hopefully go
On
to
my
build
way.
that. And if they do, well, we'll be super happy. If they don't, we'll be slightly more miserable than normal.
Ta-ta.
We're going to go and we're going to capture the Stonecutter's thing, because that's what we're going to have to do, the mine. So might as well get ahead of the curve, so to speak. And this guy right here is our amazing advisor. He's walking around being like, "What's up? I got this cool red robe on under this like bird upside." And not to mention, I have bling. And look at my bangs. They are pretty impressive. However,
New
I'm a little
building
bald on
options are
top and the
available.
back, so. Alright, so that's all well and good, and now we need one more peasant to become our stone cutter. And there he is. Our stone miner is ready and ready to go. And again, I'm going to be quiet during the cutscenes, guys.
Oh, is that it, bruv? What did the big man say? Big man? He says he's been talking to them weirfoo monks who is like all the way up on the mountain, innit? Innit though? They is proper in the clouds. And they see all these like filthy human beings getting comfy on our turf. All building villages and thing, you get me, bruv? I hear you, man. So the big man reckons they is all our property and he'll get some wicked coin for them, innit? What's the plan? We go down there and they're all like, "Oh no, please don't make us into slaves." And we like take them back up to the big man. They got any protection, bruv? Nah, man, that's the best thing. They got nothing. Let's do this. I hear you, man. Let's do it. Listen up. He was all the property of the slave master Urzal, who is taking some of you to be his slaves. The rest of you better shut it, or we will take all of you. This is our village now. You get me, yeah?
Well, I guess we ain't alone on this island no more.
So what are we gonna do, lads?
Well, we can't just leave them to the goblins, can we, dear boy? We should go and rescue them.
But we're no soldiers and we ain't got no swords or nothing.
If we don't go and get 'em back, them goblins will be thinking we's all just here like turkeys waiting for Thanksgiving.
We need volunteers. Good, brave lads who can go on a rescue mission.
What about you, Bernard? After all, they did take your wife.
Well, I'm sure she'll be fine.
Well, I can't go. I've got, important buildings to make.
Shoot, I can't go. I've got important, logs to chop.
And I've got, important, holes to dig.
Hey, didn't they also take Jethro the farmer?
What?
They took Jethro. You know, the farmer.
But that means
What?
that we can't grow wheat.
So?
If we can't grow wheat, then we can't make bread.
So?
If we can't make bread, then
What is it, man?
That means we can't have toast. That's it, boys. We're going to get Jeffro.
Aren't you forgetting someone?
Oh yeah, best get the wife too. Let's get tooled up.
For the love of toast! The love of toast. Alright, so I like it.
We need some improvised weapons to defend the village with.
So we need some improvised
Build
weapons.
a barracks and send one of the villagers there to get him equipped as militia.
Alright, building the barracks. And before we go off and we do everything there is to do in this, I will break off the episode pretty soon, guys, and I'll try to continue to... Now, you should see the peasants running around, I believe. This is how it works. They should run around and start putting out the fire. Yeah, there we go. So they automatically do a lot of the... Wow, one bucket just puts out the entire building. That's pretty impressive. Anyhow, I'm going to spread this out throughout the week and probably finish up the tutorial, I'm assuming, by the end of the week. And then, like I said, next week I will jump in and I will build me up some Sandbox stuffs to show you how it's going to play out in the future.
New building options are available.
Alright. So we need to build some militia, some militia.
What now?
Yeah, woman,
Yes, a
move.
woman's work is never done.
A woman's work is never done. Oh, alright. More
Before
work.
sending out a party of adventurers to rescue the villagers, we should give our militia some combat training. There are some mischievous-looking critters close to the village. Clear them out and let's see if there's anything interesting to be found.
I want 4 militia folk. Alright, so we're going to go and we're going to clear this thing out, and then we're going to build up the last few things that they ask us to, and that is where we'll break off the episode.
Mine is to obey.
So I'm going to send my folks down here, and they are going to slaughter stuff. So if you see anything on the ground, I don't know if I finished my thought on that, because the guy is very rude and likes to interrupt me a lot. If you see anything on the ground that's sparkly and it turns your cursor into a bag, you can double click it and pick up the items that way. You can loot it. And if you do that, I'm assuming there's some way to actually equip your characters with the items that you picked up. How exactly, I don't know yet. That hasn't come up in the tutorial, at least to the point where I'm at, so we'll see down the road. Here we go, we're going to do battle.
Yes, I shall drink to your death. May you die.
And we succeeded! Victory is ours! And as you see right here, I double click that.
The basics of combat. We should explore beyond the village borders and see if we can pick up the trail left by the goblins.
Alright, so we're going to loot all that up.
New villagers have arrived.
And we're going to pick this up as well, and we're going to loot it.
Orders, 'tis an honor.
And it wants us to explore the wild, so we'll start to explore out this direction.
Away I go.
And I believe at some
We're going to need
point...
more manpower to keep growing at this rate. Constructing 2 more cottages will encourage new settlers to arrive on the boats.
So we need to construct 2 more cottages. So I shall do that. I shall build one here, and I shall build one right there. When those 2 things get done, they'll ask us to build, because I just did this a couple of days ago, guys, so I kind of remember what's going on. I have a pretty good idea. So it seems like I'm jumping ahead or doing things that I shouldn't know to do. It's because I did play this not too long ago. To kind of refamiliarize myself with it so I'm not completely boneheaded by the time I started this up. So if I'm only partially boneheaded, that's why, guys. That is why. But we're nearly to the end of our little stint here. Then we're going to build the double cottages and then probably a couple farms, and then that's where I'm going to break out the episode. And then I'll continue, I'm not sure exactly when, but by the end of the week you should have all the episodes for the tutorial up and running. And you guys should have a pretty good idea of what the game had to offer and kind of the feel and the the peasants, you know, just the different stuff of the game. The feel and the vibe of the game. And then when we hop into the sandbox mode, I can't say I'm going to play it a super long time, maybe 1 or 2 episodes just to kind of give you guys the feel of how it's changed. And then when it finally does release fully, well...
Great! Our little village is a bustling hive of activity. But we're going to need more food as new settlers arrive and more diversity as their taste buds develop. Build a cow pasture for milk and a chicken coop for eggs. Then we can start selling them from the stores.
And a chicken coop. So, when we see the new stuff, it's just to give you a taste. That way I don't ruin anything, I don't beat it to death before I actually do the LP. So, once it's ready to release, or it's at a point where there's only going to be minor changes, I'll probably start up my LP at that point. The full-blown, ready to go from beginning to end. I think they're still going to go with a campaign of sorts. It's just going to be a lot more free, where you can place buildings and everything else. But, overall, I think the game is quite nice. It's got a really nice artwork. They did pretty good voice acting. I mean, it's a little hokey, somewhat cheesy, but I like it. I like it. It fits the scenario very nice. They are funny. They definitely added some comedy into the whole scenario, and, well, for that, I'm grateful. Now, my favorite thing, watch these cows when they pop out. Here we go, guys.
New
Ready?
building options
Aren't those
are
things awesome? The most ridiculous looking cows ever. I love it. Look at them. Look at them. Alright, and then the women are actually going to be the
New
milkmaids, I
building
believe.
options are available. Your villagers are lacking
There
in
we go.
faith and desperately need moral guidance. We should consider constructing a monastery and training some monks.
Well, that's going to be next on the docket for, well, the next episode, guys. But for now, that's going to pretty much do it, and, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you have an idea of what's going on with Folktale. It's one of the games that you can get for early access that actually have quite a bit there. They have Sandbox mode, or the tools where you can create your own stuff. They have a lot available to you in early access. I mean, it's not going to be like 30 hours of gameplay, but you can actually play it over and over again, try different things, you can build your own stuff, and you still have the tutorial to fall back on if you want a little bit of a story-driven game. So it's more than a lot of the early access offers, but it's not as much as a full game. So please keep that in mind when you do go and pick this up from Steam's early access. Well, until next time, guys, my name's Bumpy McSquigums, and I will see you later.